has been developed by state and provincial educational agencies in association with the Agency for Instructional Technology, together programming for today's learner.
Four, three, two, one. Step right up, girls. Get your campaign badges. Courtesy of Sue Smith, our next school president. Get your campaign badge. One for each person, please. Come on, vote for Sue. Vote for Sue. Come on, vote for Sue. Wait a minute. You are voting for Sue Smith, aren't you?
I don't know.
Well, are you going to vote for her?
Yeah, I guess so.
Good.
What are you doing?
Getting a sample of the voting population. This way, I can tell where my candidate stands.
But I thought a sampling meant getting an accurate picture of a larger group.
Hey, Joe, what about those guys?
Nah, I don't think they'd vote for Howard. He's not the jock type. Isn't that Howard's cousin over there? He'd vote for him.
But how are we going to get an accurate picture if you only talk to people you think want Howard?
And he's walking a dog. People love dogs. They look great on camera.
But shouldn't we try and talk to a mixed group?
What do you know about politics? You just get lots of pictures of me shaking hands.
But Joe, I'm not talking about politics. I thought we were trying to get a good sample so we know who people are voting for. Joe, wait up!
Well, Frank may not know how to sway a vote, but he sure knows a lot more about gathering useful information than either of those campaign managers.
That's because he understands how important it is that you sample the right number of the right people. If you don't, you'll have a bad sample and could get the wrong idea.
Right. Frank seems to understand that by sampling a small group of the right people, you can learn a lot about a larger group.
To get a good sample, you have to be very careful about who you ask and how you get your information.
The way Jane and Joe have been gathering their information, one of them is going to be really surprised when their candidate loses.
Right now, we have no idea who's going to win.
I have a feeling we're not alone. Let's take a peek.
Okay, let's go over this one more time. The election is 2 weeks away, and we don't know who's ahead. Our deadline is only 2 days away. How can we find out?
Maybe we should ask the candidates.
Yeah, right. I'm sure they'd be a reliable source.
Hi, guys. Have I got a scoop for you? My candidate is going to win this election. 9 out of 10 people think she's the best choice.
9 out of 10? That's not even close. Maggie, our problem is solved.
How do you know 9 out of 10 people are voting for Sue?
I took a survey. Look at this. I kept nice, neat tallies. I thought you might want to make a computer graph and put it in the newspaper.
That's a good idea. It helps when people can visualize.
Wait a minute. Hold it. Just because something looks impressive doesn't mean that it's accurate. One of the first rules of journalism is to question the source of your information. Who conducted this survey?
I did, all by myself.
Well, that's not very objective. How many people did you interview?
18 students and 2 teachers.
That's all? Aren't there 900 students?
Maggie, I've got to talk to you.
We're in a meeting, Joe.
Put it on hold. I've got a great story. Howard's got the presidential race locked up.
Excuse me, but according to my survey...
Your what?
According to my survey, Sue Smith will get 9 out of 10 votes.
Only in your dreams, Jane. I've got proof. Please sit down. Through brilliant and creative use of the latest in video technology, I can prove that the public wants my candidate. The tape, Frank.
So tell me, sir, will you be voting for Howard and... Frank. So tell me, sir, will you be voting for Howard Wexler in the up-and-coming election? Let's take it from the top, Frank. Great. So tell me, sir, will you be voting for Howard Wexler in the up-and-coming election?
Sure, I'll vote for Howard. He's my cousin.
Great, thanks.
He was very good in his debate. I thought his stand on human rights was very thoughtful.
Sure, I'll vote for Howard. I can't read your sign. Sorry. Howard Wexler. I'll vote for Howard Wexler for president. It's gonna be on TV.
I have more, but it doesn't take a genius to see that even dogs want my man.
Well, I have 90% backing.
Well, I have 100%.
Well, I interviewed more people.
I don't know, Maggie. They both seem so...
Biased and inaccurate. You didn't interview people who reflect our student body.
Right. Who cares what high school students, teachers, and dogs think? They can't vote in our election.
That's what I tried to tell you, Joe.
You guys didn't interview enough people either. At last count, there are about 900 students in the school. You can't predict anything by talking to 10 friends. Tina, it looks like we're going to have to conduct our own survey. Politicians, please leave.
Look, I don't know why you're wasting your time. You'll see that my candidate
Is a clear choice for President Sue Smith.
Now!
We're going.
Maggie, the deadline is only 2 days away.
I know, but we need to get a good sample.
But 2 days?
I could help.
Thanks, but we don't need another biased survey.
I wouldn't be biased. I promise.
Think Frank can remain unbiased?
Yeah, he understands how important a good survey is.
You know, it's not just politicians who use surveys. Businesses use samples a lot too. And if they don't do it well, millions of dollars can be lost.
Just imagine if those people conducting the surveys were as sloppy as Joe and Jane.
We're in the preview house right now in Hollywood, California. The preview house is hired by other companies just to sample people.
And their clients count on them to get accurate results.
We're here with Mr. Paul Lemberg, Senior Vice President of the preview house. Mr. Lemberg, what does sampling have to do with your business?
Sampling is the key upon which our business is based. We provide information to people who hire us to understand how the population sees and values products, programs, movies that they make. It's target sampling that we have to worry about, getting the right people to talk to. If you're going to do research with people who watch late-night television, the important thing is to bring people in who actually watch late-night television. The preview house is a laboratory environment. The technique that we use is absolutely controlled. The moderator that's up on stage says the same thing and has said the same thing for 22 years. When people come here, they are given questionnaires of interest to our clients that they fill out prior to the show starting. Once the session starts, it is absolutely controlled. The people watch programs, they have a dial in their hands, they turn their dials, and as people's involvement with what they're seeing increases, they go over to the very good position. As it decreases, they move back into the normal or into the dull position. Now, we ask people to start at the normal position, and then we can tell what dial position any and all dials are on second by second.
Thanks, Mr. Lenberg. As you can see, sampling is really a part of our lives.
But you can't talk to everybody, so you make a prediction by selecting a smaller group that represents the kind of people you're dealing with.
A prediction that is based on information, not guessing.
Okay, let's ask ourselves the 5 W's and H. Why don't we take the easy ones first?
Well, the why we know. We want a great front page story about who's ahead in the election, and the sampling is the best way to find out.
And the when is easy. You only have 2 days till you have to go to press.
And where is here at our school?
And what is asking, who do you plan to vote for? Okay, that leaves 2 big questions for the sample. who, and how.
Yeah, and who is the biggie?
That's for sure. There are over 900 students in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. If we're going to make this right, our sample group must reflect the student population.
Are all 3 grades about equal size?
Just about.
Good. Then about 1/3 of our sample should be from each grade.
How many kids are we going to sample?
Keep the numbers small.
But not too small. We want valid results.
Right. Well, we know we can't ask everyone. I doubt if we could even reach half the students in 2 days.
At least not without a lot more help.
How about 1/4 of the school? That's only 225 students.
That's still a lot. We need to analyze the results and write a story, too. Besides, I'm not sure if we need that many students to get good results.
How about 90 students? 30 kids per grade. That's manageable. Each of us could take a grade.
90 is enough, if they represent different groups. A good cross-section of the school.
Right. Everything depends on which 90 students we sample.
Let's look at the school schedule. Look, there are 3 Spanish classes in 3rd period.
Yeah, there probably are about 30 kids in each class.
We could get all 90 kids at once.
Wait a minute. Something's wrong. Yep. 2 of the Spanish classes are for the same grade. We couldn't get all 3 grades.
And not everyone in the school takes Spanish. We need a class that everyone has to take, so our sample group is more like the whole school.
We also need to be sure that we have an equal number of boys and girls.
Right. There are about an equal number of male and female students.
Great. Now we have the who. 30 kids from each grade. Half boys and half girls. So where can we get a sample that represents the different groups of kids in school?
Homerooms. That's the answer. They always have a good cross-section of students.
Great. That just leaves how.
There are all kinds of ways. We could interview people or hand out questionnaires.
Or we could use the telephone.
Who pays the bills?
I think questionnaires would be best. Everyone can fill one out in homeroom at the same time.
I guess you're right. Questionnaires would be better.
Right, and we could put all the information on the computer.
Okay, we've answered all the questions. Now we have a plan.
Well, they seem to be on the right track. Think they can do it in 2 days?
They'll make it. But before we find out who's going to win the election, let's compare the newspaper staff survey with Joe and Jane's method.
Both campaign managers were just getting responses that made their candidates look good.
They obviously didn't stop and ask themselves how to get a good sample.
Howard's my cousin.
You've got to ask yourself, who's in the big group I want to survey and who's in the sample group? And do they match?
Sampling meant getting an accurate picture of a larger group.
You should also ask how many people are you going to contact.
And how are you going to contact them?
If you ask these questions, your results are going to be much more helpful.
Now can we see how the survey came out?
Sure, why not?
And the survey results show
366 for Sue, 354 for Howard. That leaves 180 undecided.
I don't believe it. It's basically a tie.
180 undecided?
Those are the people who still haven't decided who they're going to vote for.
Right. And it's my job to educate them. I better get busy.
Wait a minute. This race isn't over yet.
Come on, Frank. Get your camera. We got work to do.
Get it yourself. I'm working for the paper now.
You better get going. You need all the votes you can get. Wait a minute.
This program was supported in part by the National Science Foundation